Welcome to Infinite Universe with interesting episode. It was the only home they truly felt connected to. For 6 months, it was their world. This wasn't just a quick visit or a casual look at a house. This was real. They lived in it. They worked on it. They struggled with it. It was the only house on the popular show This Old House where the team actually stayed longer than a few hours. They made memories in it. And it changed everything for one man named Kevin O'Connor. In 2003, something happened that no one expected. A man working as a banker sent a desperate email to a TV show, asking for help with something that might seem small: wallpaper. But that one email didn't just get him advice. It changed his entire life and also changed television history. That man was Kevin O'Connor, and at the time, he was working in a high-paying job at Bank of America. He had a strong career, a stable income, and a future already laid out in finance. But life had something else in store for him. Kevin eventually became the host of This Old House, the most trusted and respected home improvement show in the country. He built a fortune worth over $7 million, won Emmy nominations, and became a respected name in households across America. But even as he achieved so much success, things behind the scenes weren't always perfect. There were signs of tension. He avoided mentioning Bob Vila, the show's original host. He openly criticized other home improvement shows, especially those on HGTV. Longtime cast members started retiring, one after the other. And then, rumors started to spread. Whispers about Kevin's future. Was he leaving the show? Was there drama behind the scenes? Was he ready to finally tell the truth? Kevin's story didn't begin with lights, cameras, or a film crew. It began in a dusty, noisy construction site that happened to be his childhood home. He was born in 1968 or 1969 in Maplewood, New Jersey, in a house that never quite felt finished. He grew up with 4 brothers and 2 sisters. It wasn't a quiet household, and it wasn't a polished one either. His father was a civil engineer who constantly worked on the house. There were always projects going on, walls being built, floors being replaced, pipes being installed. Instead of going outside to ride bikes, Kevin and his siblings helped with construction. They held hammers, measured wood, and poured concrete. That was their normal life. Most children at that age were learning multiplication and reading comic books. Kevin was learning how to frame a door and hang drywall. He could read blueprints before he even hit his teenage years. The chaos of that household gave him something rare: a deep understanding of how homes are built. That knowledge stayed with him. Even though he didn't know it at the time, it would later make him stand out from every other host on TV. Then, when Kevin was 19, his life took a sudden turn. During military training, he began blacking out without warning. He would collapse over and over, with no explanation. Doctors ran tests and found something serious: a heart murmur. This wasn't just a small problem. It was enough to raise real concerns about whether he could continue in the military. But then something even stranger happened. All his medical records from that time disappeared. They were gone. No one could explain it. This missing paperwork made things much harder later in life when he tried to trace his medical history. That health scare forced him to rethink his entire future. Whatever plans he had for military service had to be left behind. He needed a new path. So he turned to education. In 1986, Kevin graduated from St. Benedict's Preparatory School in Newark, New Jersey. It was a tough school that demanded discipline, something Kevin now needed more than ever. He then went on to study history at the College of the Holy Cross, graduating in 1990. Studying history might sound unusual for someone who ended up on a construction show, but it taught him important skills: how to research, how to connect ideas, and most importantly, how to explain things clearly. But he wasn't finished. He later earned a master's degree in business from Boston University in 1999. That changed everything. With an MBA, he walked into the world of finance and quickly rose through the ranks. Kevin started at Fleet Bank, working in the sports finance group. He helped fund the construction of stadiums and large sports arenas. This was more than just balancing numbers; it was about building places where people came together. His sharp mind and clear thinking got him noticed by top executives. That led him to Bank of America, where he worked in commercial real estate. By his early 30s, Kevin was already a senior vice president. He had it all, a six-figure salary, bonuses, and a powerful title. From the outside, it looked perfect. But then, out of nowhere, Kevin walked away from it all. He left the high salary, the corner office, and the prestige. Why? Because deep down, he missed the sound of drills, the smell of fresh wood, and the feeling of creating something with his hands. That life in the bank was never truly his. The world of construction was where his heart had always been. In 2003, Kevin and his wife Kathleen bought a beautiful old Queen Anne-style house in Beverly, Massachusetts. Built in 1894, the house looked like a dream from the outside. But once they moved in, the dream turned into a nightmare. The house needed everything: new kitchens, new bathrooms, and a lot of repairs. But the worst part was the wallpaper. It had been painted over again and again, layer after layer. Every room looked like a museum of terrible design choices. Kevin and Kathleen spent months scraping those walls, only to discover rounded corners and rough plaster beneath. Nothing was coming off. It was exhausting. Desperate for help, they decided to send an email not to a contractor, but to the crew of This Old House, the show they had loved since they were kids. At the time, the show was working on a new spin-off called Ask This Old House. Kevin had no idea that this small act, sending an email, would change his life forever. In the email, Kevin asked if there was any trick to removing wallpaper. He wasn't expecting much. But to his surprise, the crew offered not just advice, they offered to come to his house and film a segment. Kevin was thrilled. It felt like a once-in-a-lifetime chance. He didn't know that the producers were secretly looking for a new host. They had already seen more than 400 people, but no one felt right. Then they met Kevin. During the shoot, Kevin asked questions non-stop. Even during lunch breaks, he was picking the crew's brains. Tom Silver, the master carpenter on the show, could barely eat in peace. But the producers were watching closely. They saw more than just a curious homeowner. They saw a natural host, someone who was easy to relate to, who wasn't afraid to admit what he didn't know, and who connected instantly with viewers. After filming ended, Kevin ran out to take a picture with the crew. He thought he'd never see them again. 3 weeks later, Kevin got a phone call at work. He assumed it was about a loan, but it wasn't. It was the producers of This Old House asking him to host both the new spin-off and the main show. Kevin was shocked. He thought it was a joke. He even asked his boss at the bank to keep his position open, just in case this TV thing didn't work out. Tom Silver also pushed him hard. He didn't want Kevin to fake anything. He wanted him to learn for real. And Kevin did. He spent hours off camera learning how to use tools properly, how to measure and cut, and how to work safely around professionals. He earned his place, not with charm or good looks, but with respect, effort, and sweat. In 2004, just 1 year into the job, Kevin was nominated for an Emmy for Best Service Show Host. Critics were stunned. Bob Vila and Steve Thomas had worked for years to build their reputations. Kevin had done it in 1 season. But the audience believed in him. He was real. He was learning just like they were. And that made him relatable. Over time, Kevin changed how the show worked. He didn't want to just stand to the side and ask questions. He wanted to get involved, lay bricks, swing hammers, and actually build things. The experts weren't just teaching him. They were teaching millions of viewers through him. That honesty and hands-on style made the show feel real and grounded. And that's why This Old House has lasted. It's not just about fixing homes. It's about fixing lives, one wall, one pipe, and one floor at a time. And at the center of it all, quietly leading with humility and strength, is Kevin O'Connor, a man who never planned to be a TV star, but who became one anyway. When Kevin O'Connor became part of This Old House, the show turned into something even more powerful. He didn't just host the episodes like someone reading off a script. He actually visited real houses, solved actual problems, and got deeply involved in every project. He worked with his hands, asked important questions, and connected with the audience by showing genuine interest in every task. What made his journey so surprising was how it started. He had no background in television, no acting skills, and no idea he would ever end up on camera. He was just a regular guy trying to remove wallpaper in his own home. He sent an email to the show asking for help, and that one small request changed his life forever. By the year 2025, Kevin had become the face of the show for over 2 decades. He wasn't just the friendly face on television. He also became part of the editorial board for This Old House magazine, helping shape the articles, stories, and guides that accompanied the TV program. His ideas helped steer the brand in both print and on screen. It was hard to believe that someone who once worked in banking ended up building a franchise so powerful, but Kevin did it with humility, patience, and real knowledge. And he wasn't finished. In 2003, the same year he became host of This Old House, he launched a third show called Inside This Old House. This new program gave viewers a look behind the scenes at the show's most amazing past projects. It was more than just a recap, it told the history of the franchise, and Kevin's role in it grew even bigger. For a while, he was doing all 3 shows, This Old House, Ask This Old House, and Inside This Old House, while still keeping his job at Bank of America. He didn't quit his job until he was certain this new career path would work. That careful, thoughtful approach is what made his success even more impressive. He wasn't chasing attention or looking to be famous. He wanted to build something real and lasting. The third show helped fans understand the origins of the franchise. It was a chance to look back at older renovations, meet the craftsmen who worked on them, and hear about the decisions that shaped each home. Kevin showed that he cared deeply about the details and the people involved, and that kind of passion drew people in. In 2010, Kevin did something that no host of This Old House had ever done before. He moved from public broadcasting to commercial television. He joined the DIY network to host a show called This New House with co-host Amy Matthews. The show focused on smart home technology, modern construction methods, and the future of building. It was a big risk. The audience was different, the format was quicker, and the expectations were higher. But Kevin succeeded. The show earned 2 Emmy nominations and proved that he could succeed in both public and commercial media. Kevin's greatest strength was his ability to make difficult topics simple. Whether he was explaining how to install a heating system or showing how a smart thermostat worked, he made it easy for viewers to follow along. This skill made him one of the most trusted voices in the entire home renovation industry. People listened to him because he didn't pretend to know everything. He learned with the audience and shared knowledge in a way that felt honest and respectful. In 2011, Kevin took on another huge challenge. He wrote a book called The Best Homes from This Old House. It featured more than 200 photos of stunning renovations and included stories behind each transformation. But what made the book truly special was how personal it was. He worked on it with Mike Casey, a close friend from college who also happened to be a talented photographer. The two of them, just friends with an idea, created a best-selling book that gave fans a new way to experience the show. The book wasn't just about paint and flooring. It focused on families, traditions, and the deeper meaning of home. It showed that building or restoring a house wasn't just about fixing problems, it was about creating places where people could live, grow, and make memories. Because of the success of the book, Kevin was invited to join the editorial team for This Old House magazine. His voice now influenced every part of the brand, from the TV show to the magazine to digital platforms and books. Kevin didn't try to cause controversy, but one interview ended up turning the world of renovation television upside down. During a conversation about the explosion of DIY shows on TV, Kevin gave his honest opinion. He said most of the shows were terrible, not just boring or overdone, but completely worthless. He said some of them were so bad he couldn't watch for even a second. That comment exploded across the industry. Fans were surprised. Other TV hosts were angry. After all, Kevin wasn't just any host. He was the face of the most respected renovation show in America. Many expected him to back down or apologize. But he didn't. He stood by what he said. He argued that many of the shows were fake. They promised complete makeovers in just a weekend. They used budgets that didn't match reality. And they skipped over real challenges. Kevin warned that viewers were trying to copy what they saw on these shows and getting hurt, not physically, but financially and emotionally because the projects were impossible to finish in real life. Some praised Kevin's honesty. Others accused him of being arrogant and trying to control the industry. But Kevin made it clear, he wasn't attacking anyone. He was protecting viewers. He called it a battle between entertainment and education. On one side were networks like HGTV, turning home renovation into flashy reality TV. On the other side were shows like This Old House, which focused on real work and true learning. Kevin believed in quality. He believed in showing every step, even when it was slow, messy, or difficult. He said viewers deserved the truth. He didn't criticize just to make noise. He wanted people to remember that craftsmanship mattered. He pointed out that older homes weren't badly built, they were built with the materials and knowledge people had at the time. Builders in the past used coal because it was cheap. They didn't use fiberglass insulation because it didn't exist yet. They didn't have power tools. They did their best with what they had. Kevin didn't like it when people mocked those choices without understanding the history. He also had strong opinions about trends. When people started praising tiny houses, Kevin pushed back. Many claimed that smaller homes were greener and more energy efficient. But Kevin explained that a well-built large home could use less energy than a poorly built small one. He believed in thoughtful design, not quick trends. These views sometimes brought him into debates with sustainability experts, but he stood his ground. He wanted people to think carefully before making judgments. Kevin has done very well financially. As of 2022, he earned about $10,000 per episode for This Old House and Ask This Old House. With over 380 episodes, that alone added up to millions. For comparison, Bob Vila, the show's first host, made just $200 per episode at the beginning and only reached $800 per episode by the end. In today's money, Bob made about $15,000 per season. Kevin made that in just 2 episodes. His estimated net worth sits somewhere between $5 million and $7.7 million. But Kevin's income doesn't stop at television. He's a popular speaker at major events. He earns between $15,000 and $50,000 per keynote speech. He speaks at conferences, industry expos, and trade shows. He's not just a celebrity speaker. He's an expert who shares real insights. In 2024, he was the main speaker at a huge landscaping expo in Kentucky, sponsored by Crest. His talk focused on the future of construction tools and how contractors can stay ahead in a changing world. These speeches give him access to big companies, smart investors, and new opportunities. And this is where Kevin's past in banking comes in. Before TV, he worked in real estate finance. He helped developers and sports teams build stadiums and commercial buildings. That gave him knowledge few others in the industry have. He understands money. He knows how to spot a smart investment and how to turn it into long-term success. Quietly, Kevin has invested in stocks and is CEO of a company called Bridge. He has about $5.1 million in shares and earns about $1.5 million every year from those investments. Instead of living in a modern mansion, he bought a Queen and Victorian home built in 1894 in Hamilton, Massachusetts. The house reflects his values, history, craftsmanship, and charm. It's not just where he lives. It's part of his story. Kevin didn't just take over a show. He became the heart of it. When Norm Abram, the legendary carpenter and one of the show's original members, retired in October 2022, it felt like the end of an era. Norm had been there since the very beginning in 1979. For 43 years, he had guided projects, explained the hard parts, and even filled in when Kevin had to be away. His retirement was a big loss. But Kevin didn't panic. He planned carefully. He introduced new faces and made the transition smooth. The show never felt like it lost its identity. The same thing happened in 2020 when Roger Cook, the landscape expert, had to step back because of health issues. Roger had joined the show in 1982. He brought calm, kindness, and deep knowledge to every yard. His presence mattered. Again, Kevin handled it with care. He brought in Jen Nada gradually, making sure the tone of the show stayed the same. Kevin's strength has always been knowing how to respect the past without getting stuck in it. He passed the torch slowly and respectfully. He kept the traditions alive but didn't let the show grow stale. He also understood how TV itself was changing. When Bob Vila was host, the show used to have long scenes, sometimes more than 10 minutes without any cuts. By the time Kevin took over, they shortened to 4 to 6 minute scenes. Today, shots often last just a few seconds. Kevin adjusted the show's style but made sure it didn't lose depth. He changed the questions too. Instead of just asking, "What is this?" he started asking, "Why do we do it this way?" His 20 years of experience helped him dig deeper while still staying beginner-friendly. The show kept its slower, more thoughtful pace. Unlike other shows that rushed through 5 projects in a single episode, this old house stuck to just 2 major renovations per season. Every detail, every mistake, and every solution was shown. That honesty kept viewers loyal. Kevin also embraced new platforms. In October 2019, he launched a podcast called Clear Story. It explored the hidden stories behind home systems, how windows work, where water comes from, and even how cities manage resources. It became one of the top-rated podcasts, scoring 4.8 stars on Apple. In 2021, This Old House partnered with Roku, making all 1,500 episodes available to stream for free. They even launched a 24/7 channel so people could watch anytime. Then, Kevin co-founded This Old Toolbox, a platform that lets people rent tools they need for projects. It was more than a business. It was a way to connect education with action, to help viewers take what they learned and actually do it. Kevin O'Connor is more than a TV host. He's a builder of trust, a leader of change, and a guardian of craftsmanship. He took something great and made it better, not by changing the heart of it, but by strengthening it, respecting it, and guiding it forward into the future. Thanks for watching. Keep it and stay tuned. Like and subscribe our channel. Have a good day.